hello and welcome to the show. Now, we can't be doing a rally car build series without using a Lancia sooner rather than later. So, for today, we have got the Fulvia, because this certainly does stand, I think, a good chance of being one of the faster front-wheel drive cars. We've seen many fast one of these over various iterations of Forza, certainly with kind of higher class racing on Forza 6. The Fulvias are really, really good in terms of front-wheel drive cars. So, for this series, potentially, I think the Lancia might be very quick indeed. So we're going to stick it on some snow tyres. They're going to jump us out of D-Class all the way up into B. Now, it starts off with not a huge amount. Oh, that's some nice big front tyres, actually. 255s on the front and 255 on the rear. Yeah, of course, we don't have a huge amount of power at all to begin with, just 130. However, we are not very heavy at all. I'm hoping as well that this car is going to get some better engines, potentially at least. We might go and remove those hooks, possibly if we have PI to play with, and so we probably will. What engines do we get in the Fulvia? Okay, that's good news. We get the 2-litre i4. We do also get the turbo rally engine. They are both slightly heavier than the standard engine. The i4, though, I believe will get up towards 600-700 horsepower, so we should have no problem getting the power out of the car. This engine not going in hatchbacks surprises me. There's not. The Turbo Rally engine is a more common swap into cars than this i4, which, I don't know, they seem to have taken out a bunch of engine swaps in Horizon 3 that I didn't really realise. We will, though, before we go dealing with engines, actually go through and put the handling parts in the vehicle that we are going to be wanting. Now, weight reduction is an interesting conundrum with this car. As we saw when I did the rally parts investigation, certainly with the rear-wheel drive Charger, having a bit more weight in the car doesn't really slow it down that much, and it can give it a bit more traction. And likewise with the Lancia here, admittedly there's only one stage weight reduction, it's not a huge amount that can come off. We want weight over the front wheels. We want the traction and perhaps a little bit more grip that brings. I'm pretty sure the standard engine won't get us up to halfway through S1 class. I will give it a try just in case, but I very highly doubt it's going to have the power to do it. So let's go for the most power adding parts, I guess is the correct way of phrasing that. The camshafts and the turbo, and we'll just stick on the rest of these just in case there's any half a chance of this doing it. Because the car is so light, the PI will go up pretty quick, so it might possibly work. I mean, we could just about get it into, well, get it to the top of A class, even with the likes of a gearbox change and a weight reduction. It's not going to do it. Okay, that's fair enough. That is fair enough. We will swap the engine then for the i4. Now, I guess we're probably going to want a turbocharger really on the car. We are also now. Oh, we are going to want a diff. I was going to come back to that in a minute, but we are also now probably going to be getting. I say getting away. We're going to go for that. It will bring us back down to roughly where the car was with its standard engine. Now, bits and pieces in here, some will make it heavier, some will make it lighter. It'll probably even out around about a similar weight. Maybe the i4 in this one doesn't get as much power as it's got in previous Forzas. Okay, see, now we hit a problem. Now we do hit a problem in that being a front-wheel drive car, once we're starting to get, 400 horsepower up to, 500 horsepower is not a huge amount of difference in terms of PI. The issue is, I think, we're now starting to get so crazy with the power that it's just going to waste a lot of it through wheel spin if you aren't careful. So that reckons 9 seconds to 60, and that reckons 9 points. So it's 0.1 of a second to 60 with however much more, like 100 more horsepower going on there. Right, I think we've got to be quite careful not to go too bonkers with that power. We might want, there we go, that's what we want. We want a gearbox change. Standard gearbox, unsurprisingly not so good for dealing with 500 horsepower. This makes this one of the most powerful cars to have gone in this series. It's not as powerful as the Camaro that went out last time, but I think this is the second most. It might just ever so slightly sneak more power in than the Cyclone did, which is crazy. Cyclone, I can't remember if the Cyclone was over 5. I think it had 570 torque. I'm not sure if it quite had that amount of power though. And this is a lot of horsepower through the front wheels. I would not normally recommend 500 horsepower in a front-wheel drive car. It normally does not end particularly well. We shall wait and see if this is even remotely drivable. I'm guessing, not that I particularly want to add anything more on, any more power-wise, we will be adding PI on. Okay. 568 horsepower. We don't have a huge amount of torque, though. I say we don't have a huge amount. 370 is a lot, but it's not quite the crazy levels that we have been seeing from some other cars. 1,800 pounds does make it incredibly, incredibly light. Possibly the lightest car we have had go around here. So, yeah. Let's see how a legendary rally car does when it's got way, way too much power, probably, for the front wheels to deal with. Yeah, we will see, and I suspect understeer a lot. So it is off to the Mountain Peak Scramble Circuit with the Fulvia. I will get 5 laps to try and go as fast as possible with our potentially crazy, I suspect, quite crazy Lancia. There's not a huge amount of potentially about it. Our kind of target for this car would be the Abarth, the 695. It is the only front-wheel drive car so far gone in this series, a 131.1. Our fastest non-all-wheel drive car is the RX-8, a 129.3. We've actually got off the line pretty well with the Lancia, although I am sensing a lot of on-power understeer is going to happen with this, judging by the fact that if I went to full throttle down that start line, it didn't steer. It's just wheel spin, wheel spin, wheel spin, wheel spin. Much of the wheel spin is going on in the Lancia. Oh God, we're up onto our side across there. That's not normal. That is not normal through that corner. Oh, we can get turned. We've got to be very, very careful with this car. We can throw it up the off-piste twist here with some speed. We are very, very small and very, very light. I'm not sure it's going to like the bumps. Funnily enough, though, on this first run, that's actually nicer across there than the Cyclone ever was. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. I might have dived a little too far to the inside of that checkpoint. No, we have got away with it. I'm actually beginning to wonder if just sticking it in a high gear is going to work for getting this car. When you want to try and make the most, of the speed that you have. I also saw some suggestions for chucking the car. That could actually, that is a really cheeky way of getting through the gimmies. That I did see suggested dive to the inside of the ice patch, although you may end up, we'll have to experiment a bit more with that. Oh, please find some traction, car. Please find some traction around here. Oh, turned a little bit too soon for the Satellite corner there. Now we run towards the start-finish line. I've not really been checking to see how fast cars are going in a straight line around this circuit. I mean, we're probably not doing too badly for 122 miles an hour up towards the first corner. I don't think we want to really go much lower than 4th gear, to be honest, if we're going to get control in the car. Even the front-wheel drive cars, the back end does want to step out of line through slide there. It's just such an oversteery corner, that one. I think the bumps also perhaps don't help matters. Now, we're going to have to, I think, kind of coast our way down here. If I go on the power, I think we just get understeer. Wait to get it turned in. Yeah, if I just go vaguely near the throttle, the car just understeers. It is so happy to accelerate once it's straightened up. However, if we go near that throttle through McRae, we're just ending up understeering towards the wall, which is less than ideal. To be honest, the 695, I think, was a little bit easier in terms of driving. I'm not going to say faster because I think this thing is going to out-accelerate the Abarth by quite a long way. However, the Abarth was definitely a easier car to drive. This one is, yeah, you got to really, really keep on top of the throttle control. Diabolica, we've kind of not got the line right at all through there. We will find some traction eventually. There we go. Get some traction out of the Lancia, almost to the Abarth, getting my Italian cars confused. Come on, run towards the line. It's not going to be a particularly fast second lap. Okay, we've got to fight about half a second if we want to be getting near, a little bit more than that actually, if we want to be getting near that 695. Don't think we're quite going to be able to beat the RX-8. Maybe with a really good lap we can challenge the Camaro. It's all going to be about trying to... Yes, that's all throttle control in this one. Even more so, I mean, the Abarth was a little bit bad, but even more so than with the Abarth. I'd love to have a little telemetry gauge so you could see what I'm having to try and do with the throttle inputs to try and stop the wheel spin in this car, stop the manic understeer as we are back up through this rocky section. Yeah, it actually does really deal with the bumps and the nastiness through there very, very well indeed. Now this corner can be flat out in quite a lot of cars, but it's not going to be in the Fulvia. It's just no chance that we're going to be flat out through there. In fact, we can barely get on the power through this corner without a lot of understeer. Now, if we get the line right through here, kind of dive. Oh no! That's what can go wrong with trying to take that line. There is a line there that works, but if you get it wrong, or if you get it wrong, you are in a lot of trouble. You are in so much trouble through there. Yeah, I didn't dive down enough. I got the back, and especially this being a front-wheel drive car, and so we've got the back wheels on the ice, is just going to put us round. We can save it, we can boot it, and that will straighten the car up. However, yeah, there is a very, very big risk if you do not get that line right. So, not a quicker lap that time. There is definitely a little bit of speed to be found in the Lancia. That's 123 miles an hour on the way into the first corner. There is definitely, yeah, plenty of acceleration in the Fulvia here. Come on, get turned, get turned. We either get understeer or we get oversteer through this second corner. It's one or the other. I can't replicate that two-wheeled moment either coming up here again. I think I was a little bit more to the left. I've not had a car go up, well, we might be in trouble across there. We might see the Fulvia as our first car to end up upside down on the course. Fifth gear is nice through that part. Right, I think we want to leave it in, again, we're just leaving it in higher and higher gears to try and keep control of the manic Lancia. Bouncing it across the rocks is no real problem. It's, yeah, probably not as fast through that section. Well, it's not going to be as fast through that section as the all-wheel drive cars. However, it is managing the harshness of the bumps there very, very well. We'll run out nice and wide, turn it in, get some understeer. Now, we are going to be brave, and we're going to go for diving down to the inside. I think we're going to be a little bit slower. Yeah, you compromise a little bit on the way in if you're going to get that line right, but I'm hoping overall, now maybe there might be some time to be found there. It's a big risk, though. It's a really big risk going for that. As you saw, you put a rear wheel on the ice and the car is going to go round, and there is absolutely nothing that you can do about it. I'm trying to keep the momentum up through some of these tighter corners. It's better, a 31.6 from the car. Can we get any more time? Can we get any more time out of the Fulvia? I think the Abarth might have been a really quick front-wheel drive car to start this off with. If the Fulvia is struggling here, I think that Abarth might be a surprisingly difficult time to beat. Was it up here? No, I still can't find. Can't find what almost launched the Fulvia onto its roof on the opening lap. I think we might have a name for another corner. We might have to call it Fulvia Corner, or just Fulvia up there, because yet nothing else has tried to roll over on that section. Come on, Lancia. We can make our way up there through this cross-country section with surprising ease. He's not even clonking on the floor on the exit, which I think is incredible. I'm not having to brake, but I definitely can't get to full throttle through that section because it's just all understeer. And then again, get it turned in, get on the power. Eventually we will get the car moving. We are once more going to dive to the inside through there. I do think it gives us a little bit better, it gives a little bit more speed through the first part of the Kimmies. I think overall with a Fulvia, that might be working a tad better through that section, especially when, you know, with a lot of the all-wheel drive cars, you can get away with chucking it in with a little bit more speed because they don't understeer as bad as this. So when you've got such an understeery car that you can't put any power down, that line, I think, might be a little bit better. Run towards the line. Oh, it's going to be a better final lap. We got a second quicker on that final lap, a 30.6. from the Fulvia. That's more like it to set its time. Yeah, it's about as bonkers as a 500 horsepower, incredibly light front-wheel drive Lancia would normally be. And the only thing that didn't happen is all the electronics do some funky dances. Aside from that, it was completely and utterly balmy. Actually pretty good. Anything less than fourth gear, I think I got away with third at one point. Anything less than fourth is just wheel spin. If we go into second, it's just going to be wheel spin. You've got to be even being careful with the throttle. The car just wants to go in a straight line. So, yeah, fourth gear is by far the most useful of gears. Fourth, fifth, sixth, probably all you're going to be using around here. However, when you get things right with the car, it might actually set a pretty damn good time. We're going to have a celebratory reverse donut from the Lancia. I think it is a well-deserved one, because 30.6 will not only have the Fulvia beat the Abarth, it also goes quicker than the Camaro. Only a couple of tenths faster than the Chevy. However, it does go faster than that Camaro. It'll move the car into 5th place. Still a second and a bit down on the RX-8. A fair way clear of the Mark III Supra. You know, yeah, it's going to be a long way down on the all-wheel drive cars. However, yeah, that's a better time than I initially expected to get out of the car. It does take a lot of concentration, a lot of throttle control to keep this bonkers thing pointing in a straight line. We're just going to throw it at a mountain and see what happens. Can we get up this first part of the hill? Yes, indeed we can. The game's going to reset me at some point, I suspect. However, yeah, the legendary rally car, funnily enough, is pretty good. Pretty damn good when it comes to rallying, even with way too much horsepower in it. However, that is going to be it from me. I'm amazed that this is still climbing this mountain. Thank you very much for watching, and until next time, goodbye.